Welcome to Learn and Go Go, the podcast. Hey, happy Wednesday. It's me, Sydnee. I am your host, and I am also the author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. And I am so happy that it's Wednesday night. I'm happy to be here with you guys. The comments are coming in already. Awesome. We have Dustin, we have Kyler, we have Lizzie. I'm so excited that you guys are all here. I literally just ran in here like right at 9 o'clock. So excuse me while I start the broadcast with a Tatiana. If you are new to the program, Tatiana is what we say as in cheers. So please take a sip. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It can be water, or if you're smoking something, absolutely go ahead and do that. And you know what? Me and StreamYard need to have a discussion about why it always changes my Sydnee down there to blue, and it's supposed to be purple. So absolutely no, Aaron, do what you need to, sweetie. But I have been like running crazy today, like I just said. So check in, guys. Let me know what is going on with you, what I can plug for you, what you have been up to in the last week since we met. Last week's podcast was so fun. It went by like that. I don't know if it did for you guys, but like I turn around, I'm like, it's been an hour already. So fun. Okay, good to hear. Thank you, Aaron. But yeah, so I had, here we go. Had this little, hey, Keith's here too. Awesome. This little list of stuff. So any of you who were here last week, you know that I was trying very hard to have a co-host, but my canine boyfriend was not participating. He was in the bed behind me. Hey, there's Sosavarian. So I wanted to let you guys know that Sosavarian is home and doing much better. So thank you for all of the healing energy. It absolutely worked. And as much as I miss Alfie, I'm glad that he's back with his daddy. And they have been on many adventures since then. So continue to send the healing vibes out, because I think we all could use them, whether it's, like a physical thing, whether we're dealing with something emotional. I have had this stupid cold. I hope I don't sound like it. But for like a week, and it won't go away. And I've been taking, like, I don't usually take Dayquil. Usually I take NyQuil, but they have the daytime version too. And Dave came home with Dayquil for if you have diabetes. Now, I didn't realize that Dayquil and NyQuil have sugar in them, because if you guys know, I stopped with added sugar and stuff. How old's my youngest? 21. So 19 years ago. So if I have too much sugar, it really messes with me. But I guess since, like Dennis Leary says, you drink the NyQuil, you're on the floor, it never really bothered me. So I think it's really funny that they actually have a sugar-free version. So I'm like, all right, I'll have some Dayquil, but I haven't had anything in a couple of days. Hey, Reese. So I'm hoping the rest of this takes its leave, and that you guys are healthy and strong and happy, and everything is going good for you. Thank you. I love this shirt too. When I got this shirt was actually the first time that I met Dustin at Tromathon, not this past year, the year before. So definitely love the Monster Hero. It says hero down here. There it is. My Toxie shirt. Yeah, let's see. I'm just scanning the comments. I just love that you guys all love each other. That's awesome. Makes me happy. Kyler has his own news. Doc said shoulder is healing nicely. Excellent. And by the end of the month, I should be back to normal. Should we put normal in quotes? I know for me, normal comes in quotes. But I'm glad that you're healing. That is fantastic. And Reese says, hey, my spectacular, awesome friend. Hope your day has been good to you. The shirt is awesome. You're amazing. You are amazing, Reese. Thank you for hopping on here. Always happy to see you. Yes, so Severian Dayquil for diabetics. I will send you a picture. It actually says sugar free for diabetics on it. I didn't know it was a thing. So that's pretty cool. Oh no, you had to switch to YouTube. It's funny how weekly it kind of goes back and forth. Like, is YouTube going to be an asshole or is Facebook going to be an asshole? You don't know. It's part of the excitement of Learning Go Go the podcast. You never know where it's going to be broadcasting without being a pain in the butt. And we'll have to see how long Aaron can participate before he gets spanked by YouTube because every week they love to spank him. I don't know why. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, Lunar Projects is here. Yeah, it's an actual cold, which for those of you who have known me for years and years and years and years, I was a fitness coach for over a decade, and I used to use the one shake every day, probably for over a decade. And I think they changed the formula because all of a sudden it started to upset my stomach. But when I was drinking it, I did not get sick ever. Like I would have a cold less than once a year. And that's with three kids who were in school at the time. Like, and a couple of them were still in elementary school. So that's, that's a pretty good endorsement for the product. But then all of a sudden, like, I just couldn't drink it anymore. It was upsetting my stomach. So I think, those herbal guards are down. And I haven't figured out a way to replace that in my diet yet. So it happens. It's just a cold. It's not anything major, knocking on all the wood. So yes, so it's like, I got the going on and then I don't cough until I want to sleep. And then I lay down in the bed and then all of a sudden the cough fairy comes to visit, which is really annoying. But it's all good. This too shall pass for sure. Excuse me. Let's all give good luck to Dustin for this week. Absolutely. Ooh, sending that to you for sure. When are we going to the chocolate factory? What's funny is that those in the audience who do not know what that's referring to, that sounds kind of dirty. But it's because of our mutual love for Willy Wonka and our mutual hate for Grandpa, that bastard. So that's hysterical, actually. All right, I am still scrolling. I love that you guys are so active tonight. Lots of good luck. Oh, Kyler tore a muscle while working out last month. Oof, you gotta be careful. Like, I completely understand getting excited and pushing, but there's increments. So please, 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 when you're all healed, make sure you're taking it. And I'm saying this as someone that gets excited. I started a new workout yesterday and it's a lot of lower body. I took 400 milligrams of ibuprofen because I don't take anything usually, and I'm still hurting. I get it. And oh, Tatiana, I'm sorry, I didn't include the class. So, thankfully I had my MRI for my shoulder. Hopefully that will be better soon, and then I can do more upper body. But for now, lower body and stairs are the enemy. Let's see here. Lots of good stuff, good stuff. Oh, Luna Projects has had wicked allergies and been getting earaches. So I did a sinus rinse. It helped. Is that like a neti pot or is that something different? Because like I've heard of a neti pot, but I think I will drown. I'm kind of scared of them. Yes. Oh, so Severin, you only just saw that Eddie Izzard's doing Hamlet. I love Susie Eddie Izzard, and I think it's actually Izzard. I think I always mispronounce it. But I like filmed. Like, I want to meet them one day. I would love to sit down and just like have a cup of coffee. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a very happily married woman, if you get the reference. But just like go to a bar, have a drink, and shoot the shit, I think would be fantastic. I would be honored. I love them so much. But I don't know if I would want to go sit through Hamlet, like, because I respect Shakespeare. I love things that have been spawned off of Shakespeare, like I would probably zone out of, honestly. And I should give it a try because honestly, it's been years. I know when I was in school, we did Macbeth, we read the play, and then we watched the movie, and then we went and saw the play. And I was like so Macbeth out. So, and the same with Romeo and Juliet. Like it was, so it's been years. So I should probably give it another go since I've seen Shakespeare on stage, but I absolutely love Eddie. Um, Kyler says, hold on, I have wood somewhere to knock on, throws things around. That's hilarious. Reese says, before you said Dayquil or NyQuil, whenever I have a cough or sinus or anything now, I'll drink good old Everclear or Black Velvet and then I'm better. That's a remedy of my own. Nobody in this household wants to use it. I appreciate how much older than you I am. And there was a time when I was your age that I would absolutely drink Everclear, but that is in my rearview mirror, sweetheart. Like, I just, the thought of it, I just got a tummy cramp. It just went, like, we're not in college anymore. That would, oh my God. I don't even think I could smell it, quite honestly. But I appreciate that it works for you and I hope that it continues to. But oh my goodness. Wow. And another thing, if you don't get the background reference, I was describing the wood I was getting in detail to Sydnee earlier today. So Severian is working on a project and was getting wood for the project. It's not wood. But that's hilarious that you wrote it that way. I love it. That's hysterical. Oh gosh. Let's see here. Neil Med Science. Sinus runs similar and hated it, but amazed how much hearing was restored. That's good to know. So, like a few days ago, it was in my ear. Knock wood again. Kyler started throwing things around. It's left the ears. And that's typically, I know people deal with sickness in different ways. For me, it usually starts sinus congestion, nose, throat. Then I have the chest congestion. Then I have a stomach ache for a few days. Then it, you know, does the magic school bus on out. So hopefully it's working its way through. But if it doesn't, I would absolutely try that. So can I return my Mr. Clean White eraser? I tried it on myself. No bueno. Oh my goodness. Strange Brew is Hamlet. Okay. I love Strange Brew. And Lizzie says Hamlet is my favorite. It's too funny. I don't think I've ever, like, isn't Hamlet with the skull? That's like all I know about Hamlet. Like, I don't think I've ever read that play. Tatiana again. I'm going to be taking a lot of sips today. So if you see me take a sip, feel free to join me because I might not always remember. Dustin says, not a big Shakespeare fan, to be honest, unless it's a Troma version like Romeo and Juliet or Shakespeare Shitstorm, both of which I enjoyed thoroughly. And Erin says, you make Toxie very proud, Dustin. So Severian says, Everclear is deadly for old heads like me, right? That's what I mean. Like, and I saw it. I was at Total Wine Monday. And I saw it on the shelf and I'm just like, whew, maybe if I need to just start a campfire, like that's what it would be good for now because it's just so, whew. All right, let's see. Midsummer Night's Dream I always liked. I remember Midsummer Night's Dream. That I do remember. The skull is, I think, the scene where he's just reminiscing with Yorick's skull. Okay. But I can picture, like, him talking to the skull. That's what I think of. But like I said, we were Macbethed out. We were Romeo and Julieted out. And I remember this was so long ago that, and maybe they still do it now, but they showed the Romeo and Juliet movie, I think from the 70s, 60s, 70s. And everybody had to come in with a permission slip that you could see Romeo's bare butt. It's a butt. We all have a butt. But there were some parents that did not want Anyone just see Romeo's cheeks? I really think there's more pressing hams. No, there's more pressing matters than, you know, Romeo's buns. Hey, Johnny's here. Your emojis are squares, but I'm so glad that you're here. Yay. And Keith says, so Severian, can you give an estimate for a wood burning picture needed for the Red Huntress season 2? Ooh, I think we just got an exclusive that there's going to be a season 2. Thank you for catching my joke, Lizzie. Pressing hams. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right, Luna. And Queen Titiana sounds like Tatiana to me. Okay. I would change it to Titiana, but Tatiana is a reference to a story in my book. Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self, which you can get at learnedingogo.com, available in paperback and ebook. Thank you for that opening up for me to self-promote, Luna, and Tatiana to you, my friend. Oh my goodness. So Johnny, put in the comments if you're still on here, where the trailer for Curse of the Ghost Rider was just shown. I don't want to say the wrong name. But that's super exciting that it was shown during, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so put it in the comments. Let's see. Oh, message me that. It would be really cool to work on, actually, says So Severian too. Okay, you guys are both on YouTube. I wasn't sure if you could see each other's comments or not. And of course I love the reference. Who doesn't like tits? Absolutely. All right. So let's see what else I have. Okay, I already said how So Severian is home from the hospital. Very exciting. Very, very, very happy about that. So, okay. So do we do topless or do we do things that'll get you in the hospital? I have a couple things in my notes. What do you guys want to talk about first? Because I have a couple stories here to share from the last week. Oh, good. Gotcha. If you guys need each other's information for that, I am happy to be the middle person to get y'all in touch with each other. Yeah, so this past week was both of these stories actually have to do with Dave and I were cleaning out the basement yesterday, which is, there's always so many projects at all times. Do you guys feel like that too? Like there's always something to do around the house, something to get cleaned up, yard work or whatever. Make one for her eye. Yes, absolutely. So while we were down in the keep an eye on it. All right, Aaron, I see you. Okay, before I lose my complete train of thought, the Curse of the Ghost Rider trailer was shown at Darkside Art and Oddities Expo. So go to their page, see it. I do believe that the Curse of the Ghost Rider page has it on there too. If you're not following that yet, why not? Go follow it. Go like it. Go keep up with it. But I thought that was really awesome, so I wanted to give a shout out for sure. But back to the basement. So we were cleaning up down there, and I came across a box of old photos. And there's something to be said about physical media. And believe me, I am very grateful that I have a camera in my pocket that I can use at all times and have tens of thousands of photos. But there's something about the time when you would have to bring a camera with you on purpose and take photos and then send them away to be developed. And then a couple weeks later, you might not even have anything worth keeping. But the ones that you do, when you go back in time, because there's not 10,000 photos, I think they're a little more like pulling on the old heartstrings. So I can't believe no one has voted on, let's see, let me see here. Nope. Oh, okay. The biggest practical effects scene was shot in Cleveland this past Saturday morning. So keep an eye out for that. And Keith says, if we don't raise funds for 92 hours, season 2 of The Red Huntress will start this summer. If you don't, or if you do. And Aaron is referring to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Absolute favorite based on the two-sided characters in Hamlet. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Um, so when I was going through the box of photos, I found, let me go to this one first. So you guys know I'm a humongous Rocky Horror Picture Show head. Go monthly at our local place. They have the shadow cast. They are phenomenal. If you have a shadow cast where you live, go support them. I think probably the majority of them don't get paid and have to clean up the theater afterwards for being able to use the space that they rent. So absolutely support the performers and like go out and see what they're up to. So in this box of photos, and then there were like old school IDs, like all kinds of stuff, all the school pictures. Remember, like you and your friends would give each other the wallet size photos of each other and you write on the back and stuff like that. In there was my Rocky Horror Picture Show from, I believe, the first time I saw it in the theater. I saw it many, 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 many times on VHS before then, but October 30th, 1992. And it was $6.50. And that's Edison, New Jersey, up in North Jersey. But I just thought that was so cool that I held on to that. I didn't even remember holding on to it until I found it in the box. And I'm like, that is so cool. So let's see, what are we talking about in here? Tim Roth and Gary Oldman. Oh, okay. That would be in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, I believe. So yeah, I was like super excited that I still had that because I know I have concert ticket stubs, but that was a cool one. And I do have my original Lost Boys poster down in the basement, and up on that I pinned Dave's theater ticket from going to see the Lost Boys because I wasn't allowed to see it in the theater. So things like that are really cool to reminisce. Do you guys have any of your old ticket stubs, whether it's a concert, whether it's a movie, anything like that? Have you held on to anything like that? Or are you pretty much like, yeah, it's done, once you're done doing it, and you don't hold on to little mementos like that? I'm going to Tatiana because I'm about to cough, and actually, I'm going to mute it. Excuse me, didn't want to cough in your ears. All right, there's a side conversation going on about Jim Carrey. Feel free to weigh in about that too, because that's crazy. There's a lot of crazy going on in this world, and I try not to talk about anything political on this show to make it a break from that, but this isn't so much political as is somebody being falsely accused, so that's different. But feel free to weigh in on if you thought that was Jim Carrey or not. Let's see here. Yeah, I saw different colored eyes. Had way too much free movement in his face to be a mask. Oh, okay. So Severian says, I had a box of all my stubs. I only have a few left. One is only detectable via scanner, that it was my ticket for Nirvana at the Armory in Philly. Okay, that's cool. That is really cool. Lizzie says, I should have all the tickets for movies we've seen together locked in my important documents box. I love that. That is fantastic. Yeah, I have a lot it's like an old jewelry box that my mom gave me, and I have a lot of concert tickets in that. I know I have the ticket stub from when Dave and I went and saw Hamilton, from when we went and saw Wicked, and then like a lot of the concerts that we've been to, Alice in Chains and Linkin Park and Chris Cornell, and like a bunch of the festival shows. So it's fun to look back because honestly, sometimes I come across them and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that show. Or I forgot that artist was at that show, because I've been, very thankfully able to go to several. So, in the festival shows, after a while, you might forget exactly who some of the opening bands were. So that's pretty cool. So Severian says, in my lost box are probably 100 tickets. Pink Floyd, The Hooters at the Tower Theater, a half dozen Steve Hackett and Neil Young shows each. Yes, over and over. And Aaron says, I got Lizzie the German release poster from my Bloody Valentine signed by the miner himself. That is awesome. That is super cool. I have a Red Huntress poster signed by the stars, and my Trimathon posters are signed by some of the original Cretans. And oh, I cannot do that with my neck. Oh, don't let me do that, guys. That really hurt. Whew, sorry. That was ouchy. That was stupid. But yeah, like it's really cool to have that memorabilia. That is awesome. Luna says, makeup artist and drag queen Alexis Stone claimed to have impersonated Jim Carrey at the 2026 Caesar Awards in Paris. Interesting. And Lizzie says he got it all sneaky behind my back at Frightmare. So sweet. That is awesome. And Aaron says, in person, he did it for me for free because he liked my costume. See? It's the power of art. It really is like amazing. So that's really cool. I'm glad you guys have held on to so much memorabilia and gotten things like that about your favorite movies, your favorite bands, and stuff like that. And like I said, it was funny because I sent it to my big brother because he's the one that introduced me to Rocky Horror. And he was like, was that your first show? And I'm like, I didn't even think about that, but I bet it was. And the thing I remember about that was going up to his apartment because he lived in New Brunswick, which is right there for Edison. And a former friend of mine and I went to go see Rocky Horror with him. And back then you could still do rice, water guns, all the things that are a big no-no as far as props today. Somebody dumped like an entire bag of rice in the hood of my drug rug, and I had no idea until we were at the diner afterwards, and my former friend takes the hood and just goes, and rice went everywhere. May have been a little bit inebriated to not notice that someone put an entire bag of rice in my hood, but that's what happened. Now it's part of the folklore. Let's see here. Aaron says, I have a signed poster for me for the Red Huntress. Gotten for you by Looney. That is awesome. Yes, my drug rug, my Baja, the like kind of looks like a burlap hoodie, but it's usually pretty big and it has, the pocket and the hood. I can send you a picture. I still have one. I didn't know they were called drug rugs until my children introduced me to that term. I used to call them Bajas. But I'm apparently old and behind the times because they are drug rugs. The things you learn. So, yeah, so that was pretty funny. Yeah, so another thing that I found in the box. Oh, cool old pictures. Yes, exactly. 90s Grateful Dead concert uniforms. Yes, you got it. If you weren't wearing the ankle long skirt with the halter top, you were wearing a drug rug. One or the other. I think they were in a PCU when they were playing Frisbee. Was it Ultimate Frisbee they were playing? Or Frisbee Catch with, anyway, it was like all the stoners were like, whoo. Let's see. It says, want to get flirted with at conventions? Go dress like Lizzie did as Mary Lou. I bet I would flirt with Lizzie. 100%. No matter what she's dressed as. She's hot. So back to my box of photos. You guys have heard me tell this story before, I'm sure, but just in case. Back in the 90s, because we're hanging in the 90s tonight. It's a very comfortable place to be. I had a friend come up to visit from Kentucky who had never been to the shore, as we call it, to the beach. So we went down there, and for some reason, I thought I could still do a front handspring. Now, I was definitely in my 20s. I would say early 20s. And I didn't realize until I went through the box of photos yesterday that I have photographic evidence of this. So I just remember looking down the shoreline and I'm like, I'm going to do a front handspring. I can do it. I had all the faith in the world in myself. So this is me. I love this. This might be my new profile picture. I love this. So I like take off and I'm like, I'm going to do a front handspring. So I like go flying through the air. There's me. All right, we're going over. We're doing it. We're doing the thing. I landed flat on my ass in the sand, right? There was no like dismount. There was nothing graceful about that at all. It was like boom in the sand, ass first. So I got up and I see this gigantic ass print in the sand. I wish I had a picture of this. Big ass print with two hands next to it, and I could not stop laughing. Like it was the funniest thing. So when I saw that, I just could not stop laughing at my attempt at gymnastics. But I love this picture. I'm not going to lie. I think it's hilarious. So that was fun to discover last night. Because like I said, I did not realize that there was photographic evidence. And for those of you who are just listening, the first picture is me. I guess I would say I got like one arm on the ground, one leg straight up in the air, one leg kind of hanging there. And then the second picture is like kind of a handstand with a crooked leg. And then the third one is me sitting on the sand with my hands, my face in my hands. Like what did I just do there? So I love that I have those photos. I think it's hysterical. Lizzie says, last time I tried to cartwheel, it turned into a somersault. Huzzah for at least not breaking our necks. Absolutely. You know what? Every few years I decide to do a cartwheel and I'm like, let's see if I can still do a cartwheel. And the fun fact is technically I can, but then I can't walk for like 3 days because I wound up pulling something, like going up my inner leg. Oh, I think at my age I have to do a warm-up workout first before I try that. Reese says, that's a great photo, action shots. Whoops, I have to show you some cool spots to take photos when you come to Michigan. Absolutely. And she didn't give herself black eyes. Okay, so Erin, fun fact. That was before I had kids. So some women have hooters. I had tweeters back then. There was no way they were getting anywhere near my eyes. Like I was good to go. Yeah, maybe I have a little, they're kind of like onions and socks. So they might, I would not do a front handspring now because that landing, we may have to call the ambulance. I would not try that now. But yeah, I'm like, I'm so tempted to make that my profile picture and be like, do you know what this is about? You got to check out my podcast to find out. Reese said, I did a backflip from my buddy's roof. Oh my God, into his backyard. We had some drinks and they dared me. Luckily, I landed on my feet. Oh my God, you are like a cat. Thank God for that. Whew. Thankfully, the roof wasn't too high up. Seriously, but still, please be careful. Please, you're still in those like invincible years. So I understand and I'm giving you all the good juju, but please be careful because we love you and we don't want you to break your neck. And I'm saying that as somebody who did a ton of stupid shit. So that's hilarious. Another thing that's really funny, speaking of all of the things we've been speaking of, I do not have them on here because I love having this show and I don't want to get the big old Family Feud from YouTube and Facebook. But I found some pictures of my bestie and I from years and years and years ago. And I don't remember that this was like such a thing until I found the photos. But we used to like flash in places and take pictures of it, which again, this wasn't now. This wasn't you had a phone in your pocket, ha ha ha, click. And this was, in a way it was kind of better because there weren't hundreds of people with phones in their pockets. So I guess in that way it was a little more comfortable to do it. But one of the sets of pictures I found was kayaking in Mexico, where we were in the middle of, um, we were at La Paz, which is in Baja, California, and between the peninsula and the land, there's a big channel, and we went ocean kayaking, and like we're out there kayaking, we're like, wow, there's nobody around, so why not? But that's not the funny one. The funny one is me in front of the Capitol building in Washington D.C. I'm like, what? And her in front of the Washington Monument in broad daylight, like hysterical. Hysterical. I would be afraid of getting arrested now more than anything else because everyone's so friggin' uptight. But I was just like, I do not even remember doing this. But there's photographic evidence. Do you have any photos like that of yourself that you're just like, I can't believe that I have photographic evidence that this happened? And I don't mean like personal with, like things you sent. Well, maybe if you want to send things not send, share in text, not in ways that will get Sydnee's show taken away from her. Stories of maybe you were dating somebody and thought it was a good idea and then realized it wasn't, or, like in my experience in our nation's capital, just because it's so funny. I can't believe when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. That was like a different butterfly ago because I have a butterfly tattoo right here and I've had to have it redone. That's hilarious. Aaron says I did something insane like that at a party once, but I don't know how to phrase it. And Lizzie says how to phrase it without getting spanked by YouTube. Absolutely. I will tell Lizzie and she will tell it so I don't get paddled. Okay, that's fair. You can use like context clues or, like code words. That's what we need to do, guys. We need to come up with the learned in go-go code words so that we all know what it is. And then if you come and you watch the show or you listen to it, you'll learn what it is, but Big Brother won't know what it is. Tatiana to that. I think that's hilarious. Okay, I'm waiting to see what Lizzie says. I'm excited about this. I know that I found some photos that were just like, really? Like, I can't believe that I took them, but they weren't bad. They were just, yes, absolutely, a cipher. And now I'm thinking of Gravity Falls with Bill Cipher. I didn't upload of them, but like, you're making like a goofy face and you're like, why did I even keep this? But again, back then, when you're paying money to get photos developed, you don't want to throw them out unless they're absolute garbage. And the other thing I said to Dave that was funny was that, like I said, I have this big cardboard box and in it are all of these CBS 1 hour envelopes. And I was so excited because I said, every time I see one of these envelopes, it means that I was hanging out and spending time with another one of my besties because she's the one that worked at CBS and developed my pictures at the 1 hour photo. So that made me happy. There were some, okay, so I did upload some funny pictures that I found while you guys are figuring out the best way to word things and not get spanked by Facebook or YouTube. So back in the 90s, I was a bartender as well as a dancer. And one of the things that I learned that I loved was if you wore pleather while you were bartending, it was fantastic because then if something got spilled on you, you could just wipe it off because it didn't absorb the drinks. So this was one of my usual bartending outfits. Check out that hair. I wish I couldn't get my thigh in that these days, but I love that outfit and I think it was awesome. And I felt like such a badass in that. And part of me still wants to do the streaks again, like not with them, well, maybe with the red and all, but I just that era of streaks in the front, kind of Ginger Spice but cooler. You know what I mean? Like, and nothing against Ginger Spice, but I always love that little accent to my hair. Let's see. Aaron says, whoops. Hey, okay. At a wild party, I was dressed as the Scream Killer and it involved stuff. Okay. Lizzie says he was on Gypsy Queen and walked out a second floor window, landed on his feet in front of a guy. Guy pulled up the Scream mask and Aaron was painted as the crow underneath. It's a double outfit. That is badass. I love that. Give you the vapors. Thank you. And what did I say? Sassy ginger spice. That's hilarious. That is a story. Absolutely. That is so cool. Another thing I like to pair with the pleather was my Betty Page shirt. Now this is a good picture of the blonde. I think that's a better one than the red. But I mean, this was my condo back in the late 90s. So the lighting was not phenomenal. We didn't have ring lights back then. But yeah, I just was like, when I came across them, sorry, I gotta mute it again. This cough is on my nerves. When I came across them, I'm like, okay, I gotta share these because you know what? It's fun to reminisce. But that was almost 30 years ago, guys. 2 weeks from today is my birthday. And I'm gonna be 51. And I'm good with that. Cheers to that. Tatiana. We'll have to have everybody come on for a birthday hangout, I think. But yeah, another one that I found. Thank you, Lizzie. Oh my God, Sydney, I love that. That's awesome. And Aaron says, I was Mr. Burns. I was strolling through the gas one day. I don't think I've seen that. I know Mr. Burns, but I don't think I've seen that episode where I'm singing, I was strolling through the park one day, but I don't know if that's correct. That's just what popped into my head. Well, thank you, Luna. Whoa, chickadee. Damn girl, that is so hot. Thank you. I loved that Betty Page tank top. It was so cute. I got it in New Orleans and I think I wore it until the what do you call that? The decal, I guess, finally just flaked off. I wore the shit out of that thing. And so the last reminiscing Sydney back in the 90s, in my book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in GoGo, which you can get at learnedingogo.com. I share the story about how I had custom made fangs made, and I wish I still had them. They were so cool. I actually had dental molds taken, and then it was somebody that I worked with, his boyfriend, that used to make them. And so I got him to make me a pair. I believe they were $80. They were $60 or $80. Either way, I wrote them off of my taxes because I used them for work. Sounds fair to me. But they were actually caps that went over my real teeth. And I do not have very many photos of them. And the ones that I have are blurry, but I love this because they looked so good. And I wish I still had them. And I remember one night I was coming home from work and I got pulled over on the highway. And I used to keep the fangs in a 35 millimeter film case, you do. Keep things in. And I got pulled over. And I don't even know why the cop asked me to open my briefcase, except it was probably 3 a.m. and I was driving with a briefcase. And that's what I used to take. My friend would make fun of me. I still have the briefcase. And I used to take it to work because I could lock it. Yeah, somebody could take it, the whole thing, but I'd lock, my money, my makeup, I don't even know what else in there, and my film case for my fangs. And so he's like, what's in the film case? And I'm like, can I show you? Because if I tell you, you're not going to believe me. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, they're fangs. And he's like, what? So I take them out and I put them in my hand. I pop them in. This police officer was beside himself. He's like, they are so cool. Are you Are you serious? Like, he was so excited. It was so funny. He let me go because he was so excited about my fangs. So, oh, good night, Kyler. Everybody say good night to Kyler. Get good sleep. Love you too. Oh, yay. Aaliyah is here and she is giving us a Tatiana. Cheers to everybody. Mm-hmm. Don't have to Tatiana me twice. Okay, so it was like that. It was from Treehouse of Horror. I know there's several of those, and I haven't seen all of them. I'm not as caught up on Simpsons as I am on like Family Guy. I feel like we watch Family Guy pretty much every day. Um, but there's gaps in The Simpsons. Like I remember the Tracy Ullman show when they first were a part of that. I remember them from that, and then there's just certain references over the years I get, but there's big gaps I don't. So let's see. Aaron says, if I would have been an 80s metal god, I would have put you on every record. Thank you. Yeah, I think I would have done the 80s metal covers. I think I would have, been able to pull that off. That's who you look like, Jacqueline Smith. Okay, show that vamp pic again. Sure. So this is, like I said, not the best. I wish it was a clearer pic. It's funny. Can you guess where this picture was taken? Like, look around. What does this look like to you? Where was this picture taken? Because it was one of the few times that I wore them not at work. And I will definitely give a big ding, ding, ding if you guess right, because it's pretty funny, actually. Oh, thank you, Aaron. Aaron says, Sid, my dear friend, you have been smoking hot from day one. If not, I wouldn't have cast you as a powerful badass goddess Nyx. That's facts. I cannot wait. To play Nyx for you. I'm so excited. Oh, Luna. So sweet. I totally agree. She's been a honey and still is. Thank you. Okay, so you guys are so smart. Aaron says high school. Lizzie says, yeah, looks like a school to me too. Okay, you know what's funny? Charlie's Angels school. Okay. Yeah, so this was in the music room of a high school. Which is really funny that you guys got that immediately. I am so impressed. So impressed. That was like, boom. Yeah, I didn't have those walls at home, but the person who was the teacher of that music room was in my home in the 90s. Back then. Okay, Aaron says I thought of Once Bitten instantly. Cool. Yeah, there's definitely, I talk about them in here in my book because I share the stories of when I got them. I was so excited, and I did get to where I could drink through a straw and smoke cigarettes with them in, but I couldn't, like, I could eat, but I didn't want to mess them up, and they kind of like, because they're caps. If you push on them too hard, they'd hurt. But I definitely could like work and walk around and have a drink or have a smoke back then. So it's funny to like see them because they were so fun. But in the book, I talk about when I would walk up to a guy for tips and yeah, bite me. And I'd just be like, okay, do you have a copy of your medical records? Because I need to make sure that you don't have any bloodborne diseases. And when was the last time that you had this done? And blah, 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 blah. Because I can't just go dirty biting people, like I wouldn't want to do that. And I would just, my thing was to talk and talk and talk until they would pay me to go away. And so that was one of the times that I would do that. And another would be like, are they real? And I'd be like, yeah, do you know that only 0.01% of the population is born with fangs like these? And it's because of my Romanian heritage and blah, blah. And I would just make shit up. And again, talk and talk and talk and talk until they would pay me to leave them alone. So, yeah, they actually helped. I actually had a couple customers, and at least one I can still, like, when I close my eyes, I can picture them, and I do believe it was legitimate. But that would get upset and like scream and be terrified when they saw my fangs. So I don't know what happened to them that they had that kind of reaction. But like I said, I know one guy gave me energy that he was traumatized, and I kind of felt bad, but I could, I can, here you go, right? Like I didn't have to show him. You can still give me $1. It's just about give me $1 to go away. Let's see. Aaron says in that vamp pic, you could be the sister of the chick that played Killer Frost on the Flash TV show. I'm not familiar. Oh, the Flash. Yes. Okay. You know what's funny? Years ago, there was one of those things where it was like, make your profile picture a superhero, and it was supposed to be somebody that looked like you, and somebody said Frost, and that's who I used. So I do know exactly who you're talking about. That's so funny that I actually did use that as like a doppelganger superhero. That's great. But yeah, I used to do that all the time. And again, I keep saying it, but in my book, I tell the story about, because guys would be like, come on, baby, let's get out of here. And I'd be like, no, and well, I'm a nice guy. I'm like, yeah, well, from all accounts, Ted Bundy was a nice guy too. Doesn't mean that I'm leaving the bar with you. And so if they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, I'd be like, okay, but you have to bring my best friend Marissa, because like we go everywhere together, and you have to get us pizza, and like half of it has to be cheese, and like the other half has to be pepperoni, but then like a third of it has to be peppers, because like that's how we like it, and we have to get it from Dominique's, because like that's the very best pizza. And then we both need Marlboro Lights, and my later summer is dead, so I'm gonna need a lit, and I would just go on and on and on until again they were like, get the hell away from me, and like tip me to go away. So there is something to be said about, like if you're not going to take no for an answer, I'm going to make you tell me no, because I'm just going to be annoying as fuck. So let's see. Oh, now I want to make you a vampire in a movie. I would love that. I just need to get caps again, because they're so good. Like the custom made ones. I don't even know where I would do that or where I could afford it, because I'm sure they're a whole lot more than they were back then. Yes, being a chatty Cathy, 100%, and being ridiculous, like getting into pizza toppings or cigarette brands, or okay, and I need like the nacho cheese Doritos, and like Marissa likes the Cool Ranch, like just anything I could think of. Hey, Darren! If I had an album, your voice could be used as a message, but you have to play the record backwards. Hugs, my friend, hugs. Love you. That's so fun. That would be fantastic. Doing like the subliminal messaging. That'd be awesome. I would love that. I think I told you guys before about how my friends and I heard about the whole, subliminal message thing back in the 80s. And I had the Shout at the Devil album, but I had it on cassette. So I took the cassette tape apart and completely like wound it up so it would play backwards. And all it said was like, Rarsh, Rarsh. And it was like, Rarsh. I'm like, does Satan say Rarsh? That sounds stupid to me. So I never really got, but some stuff, if you listen close enough, it does sound like a message. And that, just because you guys know, if it's in my brain, I say it, reminded me, do you guys remember the Def Leppard song Love Bites? Did you ever listen to it to the very, 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 very end? Because there was a whole controversy that, like the song ends and he goes, if you have got love in your sights, watch out. Love bites. And then if you keep it going, it sounds like he says, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, go to hell. And like, oh, people lost their minds. They lost their minds. I don't know if that's what Def Leppard did not seem like the type of band to me to say that, but you know what? I don't know what Joe Elliott's thinking. I have no idea. Oh, cool. Reaper knows an artist that makes custom fangs. Awesome. I shall get in touch and find out prices and if I can do the mold, because I know you can get like a mouth guard and do the word, like the pressing, so you get the right kind. That would be cool. That was all over Liberty University when I was there. Subliminal messages or Def Leppard in particular, because again, Def Leppard seemed like an odd choice to me to be speaking out against Jesus Christ and telling him to go to hell. Oh, I was there when that album came out. Interesting. Okay, and you have heard that because you had the cassette. Yep, yep. I think I'm sure I had the cassette first, and then I have the CD now, but I guarantee when Hysteria came out, I had the cassette because I didn't have a CD player for the longest. So Def Leppard's "Evil Love Bites." That's so funny. We'll have to have a discussion about that one night. Like all of the subliminal messages or the things that like back in the day we were told this was this and that is that. And somebody one of my friends sent me it was an Instagram video, and I'm like, why does it sound like in the background he's just going penis, penis, penis? And then the more I listened to it, the more it sounded like spinach, spinach. And I'm like, either one. And then so, it'll tell you the song, but I could only see the artist. So I clicked on it and the song is called Penis, Penis, Penis. I'm like, see, it's not just me. That's the name of the song. But sometimes you hear things that aren't really there. Let's see. I wore that in Pyromania out. Absolutely. I forget. It might have just been because you know how on your profile you can put a song. I can't remember if I just used Me and My Wine for that. I used it in something recently. I used to love that video. That video was ridiculous, and I was there for it. And then, because like Rick Allen still had two arms back then, he's sitting in the bathroom door. Loved that. I used to have, in fact, I still have, I just don't have a VCR anymore, but a VHS tape where I recorded. It was called Hysteria, and it was like the video version of Hysteria. And they had the UK version of Pour Some Sugar on Me, which was a bunch of female construction workers demoing a house. Fantastic. So it's like there's so many little nuggets if you know where to look for them. Lizzie says the Rugrats theme has backwards masking. Really? Mark Mothersbaugh stuck it in there because he was fascinated by the concept and wanted to see if it worked. That is fantastic. I love that. I need to check that out. So Severian says Hotel California and Stairway to Heaven were then followed by Queen's Another One Bites the Dust as most popularly accused of backmasking. Yep. And so Severian wants to check Rugrats out. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously Ozzy and Judas Priest were big for those, but I feel like most of the big ones were like the real heavy ones that most mainstream kids wouldn't have even found, but because they were talking about it, it probably boosted their album sales, and good for them. Like there was like one big one and I can't think of what it is now. Speaking of one big one, Lizzie says it's you can smell sausage cooking. You want to eat sausage, stuff like that. I know that's not what you meant, but it was a good segue. And Lizzie says Aaron might have the link to the documentary on him where he mentioned it. Awesome. And guys, again, when we talk about this stuff, if you have links, I know on YouTube, I can never come back and find the live comments, but on Facebook, like if you go to where you said that and then click reply and put the link, like absolutely share this stuff so everybody can check it out. Cannibal Corpse was they were pretty popular. I'm thinking more like, who was it that I just saw? Dang it, I can't remember. Oh, you can't put links through YouTube. Okay, another good reason to do it on Facebook. Oh, Devo was the one with Eat Sausage. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't put links on YouTube. Cannibal Corpse was the only one that you heard of because of church. You didn't have. Okay, so I know we're at an hour, but I'm just going to keep on talking. I remember my dad recorded the PMRC hearings. And there was a whole special before that about, actually, you know what? I think it was a video that he ordered, because I remember it starting with Sesame Street and them saying, you know, that the evil people don't want you to think that children can learn through imagery and music, but that's not true, you know. And it's like Elmo, blah, you know. So then they had the video for When the Lady Smiles by Golden Earring, because the guy had brain surgery and they took a little piece of his brain out and fed it to the dog. Um, does your dad still have that video? I might have that video. If not, he very may well. Um, but I remember that. It was Girls on Film by Duran Duran. It was Too Much Blood by Rolling Stones. I'm trying to think what else was like highlighted as bad videos. But damn it, I can't think now. But I loved it. I used to watch it all the time because of the the videos that they were like, this is bad. And I'm like, this is fantastic, you know, completely had the opposite effect on me. And I think I've shared with you guys before, back in the day when you would buy an album, it didn't always come with the lyrics. Sometimes you'd be all excited and you'd open up the liner notes and it would just be that stark white nothing. Like you bought it on BMG or Columbia House. And so I remember being a teenager and I had might have been when I had my word processor, you know, it was like before I had a computer. And I used to type out these letters saying I was a concerned mother of a teenager who's listening to fill in the blank song I didn't know the lyrics to because it didn't come in the album. And is there any way they can help me? But they would send me the lyrics. They would send me the lyrics I asked for, and sometimes several pages of lyrics that they thought were one shit. One of the songs was Necrophilia. I remember the title, but I can't remember who sang it. But it was hysterical that they were just like, here you go. You know, and I'm like, yes, thank you, Tipper Gore. Now I know what they're saying. You got to know how to work the system. Let's see. Luna says, remember trying to play Another One Bites the Dust because I had a 45. Okay. I finally got rid of all of my 45s. Like I had them forever and I still had the little the hell was it that you'd stick in the middle of the 45 so you could stick it on the record player if you didn't have the circle that came with the record player anymore. It was like a little yellow, most of them are yellow, but the little plastic thing you'd stick in there so it would play. That's awesome. I miss records. They were really cool. Sis Variant says that's freaking valuable, especially if it still has the commercials. That is one thing that I absolutely love. As much as I was irritated at the time that I wasn't allowed to watch MTV because of that, I used to have my friends record it for me. And I have one for sure. I think it's the one that has Historia on it. No, so I have two. VHS tapes that are MTV videos from the late 80s, early 90s. I know I have a Headbangers Ball when Madeline by Winger first came out. It has Make Some Noise by Slave Raider. It has God Promised a Paradise by Mazai. All of these videos I can act out to this day because I used to watch them secretly over and over and over again. But included in that is the commercials that are freaking hilarious. I know one of the commercials is the opera singer with like the Viking helmet singing Nintendo, you know, it was the old Nintendo commercial. There was now my favorite recipes are your favorite recipes, Mom. There's like recipe cards. I know that's on there. Like just ridiculous. There's an ad for War of the Roses, the movie. But then it was a Justine Bateman movie. Have light in the title. I can't remember. But they're more fun than the videos in a lot of ways because you can watch the videos on YouTube, but like trying to find these specific Light of Day, that was the name of it. These specific commercials is a lot harder. Was it just called a disc? That makes sense. Yeah, Headbangers Ball was the shit. and like going through Adam Curry and Ricky Ratman and Matt Pinford. Pinford? That sounds right. Luna says the Witch Doctor. Think Sega commercial. Think it was. Oh, there was a Witch Doctor commercial for Sega. I'm trying to remember what that was. But yeah, like these commercials were hilarious, and I'm really glad to still have some of those. Um, but yeah, like I know at one point I had the movie Hair that I had recorded off of A&E, so that had commercials, but I don't remember what they were off the top of my head. And it got to the point where I had played the VHS tape so much that you could almost see through it, like while you were watching it. That was crazy. Oh, excuse me, that was crazy, but there were some fun commercials back then. But I loved that because of not being allowed to do something, it's ingrained because honestly, if I was allowed to watch it in real time, I wouldn't remember half of the things that went on in the music videos that I have recorded. Like I can still act out the video for Don't Close Your Eyes by Kiss, like Kicks, not Kiss, Kicks, Kix, because I watched that 100,000 times. Um, okay, it was a Nintendo commercial with the Witch Doctor, and Aaron says, say it, Sega, Sega. They were great. There was another commercial that we used to quote all the time that was like, shopping and I had a love-hate affair. Affair? Temptation? Frustration? Why, I vowed I'd never shop again. Never? Well, that was before you and your popular club catalog came along. It is the ultimate. Like, why do I remember this? I can't remember why I walked into the kitchen, but I can remember popular club catalog commercial from like 1980 something. My brain is a funny place. So, anyway, yeah, I think that's going to do it for tonight, my friends, because I have to take some NyQuil and try to get rid of the rest of this cold. But it has been so much fun hanging with you all. I love it, love it, love it. I look forward to our Wednesday get-togethers. You guys make my week. And please, if you haven't already, get your copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go. You can get it at learningogo.com. If you have already gotten it, thank you. I love you. Please share with your friends. And I cannot wait to be on here with you all again next week. And like I said before, if we're talking about something and you find those links, go back on my Learn and Go the podcast Facebook page and put it in the comments under the show so that everybody can see and share. And the same thing with if you're, oh, awesome. Thank you for posting the commercial. If you're creating something, if you're promoting something, I always want to put that in the light for you to get as many eyes on it as possible for you. I love to share the love. So always feel free to put that in the comments under the shows too. Say, hey, I got this going on. Check it out, whatever. So that's what we're all here for, because when the tide comes in, all ships rise. So let's all just uplift each other. And remember, this week you might deal with some things that suck. It happens. And when that does, make sure to take those issues head on, because when you stick your head in the sand, you think you're hiding from your problems, but the rest of the world just sees a big ass. Love you.